Well, hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and that rascal there, in the hip-hop world, they know him as Whiz Bang. That's Mike. How the hell are you, Mike?
Good, man. How you doing? You obviously, did you hear my latest cut? It's pretty good.
Old People This Week is a podcast for human beings who are 60 years of age or over. If you're a human and under 60 and you happen to stumble in here, you're welcome to stay and learn something because Mike and I are the smartest men in Riverside County, California. Every week, every Thursday, we bring you the stories behind the stories that you need to know as you go into the weekend. Now, we don't talk about politics, so if you want politics, you can go to Fox, CNN, or MSNBC. Here we give you the really good stories that you need to know as you head into the weekend and you want to sound smart when you're hanging out with your friends, playing pickleball, playing golf at the gym, or, of course, at happy hour, where, at least for an hour after it begins, Mike and I are reasonably sober.
Measurably.
Yeah. After that, you're on your own.
Yeah.
You please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike will fly to your house or drive to your house or take his horse and ride over to your house and give you a haircut like he has. If you
Absolutely.
If you want a cue ball, there you go.
Stunning.
He'll bring his razor, his number 2 cut razor, and trim you down to size. Isn't that correct?
Perfect. It's a master craft, well perfected over the years.
And he'll do your dog, too, if you don't happen to want him to shave your head.
Any living thing that needs a haircut.
Living or not, he'll do it. Send us an email, oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We love getting your emails. We love the comments. We'll take any questions, and we'll answer any questions that you have. If you don't want to look at our wonderful faces, then you can check out this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But it's all right here for you for free.
But why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you ever not
when you
want to
can
look
take
at this?
in?
Yeah. Check out our Substack. It's 52tasks.substack.com. This past week we spoke about etiquette. And this coming week we're going to talk about what you wear, meaning what you wear says a lot about you. And we're going to instruct you on how to dress. We got some comments. Always good.
That's always good.
They're always good when they're good comments. They're not good when they're bad comments. First from a viewer by the name of Renee Eng. Now, Renee Eng, spelled E-N-G, is an acquaintance of mine. She is an anchor on Spectrum News in Southern California.
Oh.
And she has subscribed to our podcast, which we thank her for. And she sent us a link, or sent me a link to a book called How to Make Your First $1 Million in 9 Simple Lessons. And I glanced through it. I didn't have time to read it, but I can tell you one thing, Mike. One of the 9 steps to making $1 million is not to do a podcast. That's not in there. So,
but if you cut your own hair, you save considerable funds that you could then buy NVIDIA stock with.
Oh my God! How much does NVIDIA stock sell for?
It went down 7% today for some reason, but the whole market took a tumble today. So,
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to check and see if my $300 or $400 savings bond is still any good. And we heard from Allison Moreland, who has written us just about every week. She's great. I had said the last time we talked about her, that she had said that we were cranky. She wrote to say, I didn't exactly say that you were cranky, but that I love the crankiness. And then she ended by saying, I will be there soon for my calamari and cocktail.
Oh, that'll teach you.
We're going to finally have to crack open the wallet for one of our viewers. I'm going to show an old picture of Mike when he... Oh, I guess that's not Mike after all, and you can see that. But the reason I bring it up is because the United States of America Mullet Championship, the USA Mullet Championship, just took place.
Yep.
and they've crowned a new champion. His name is Mason Padilla. He's 13. He's been competing for the best mullet in America since 2019, and he took the top prize in the teen category for his, as he called it, his West Coast wave cut.
Yeah. I have no idea what that is, but he's got hair down to his waist.
But that's the wave cut. It's all with that big hunk of hair in the back of his neck. And then they quoted Mason as saying, "I never thought a haircut could take me this far." And he goes, "I hope it will inspire other kids."
Yeah. Oh, good. No, please. Do you see his championship belt that he's holding up in his picture?
Yeah, what a ridiculous thing. United States Mullet Championship.
Mullet.
Who knew that it even existed?
Yeah. Please don't put that on your resume in 10 years.
When he's going to college, that'll be the first thing on there. So this weekend, I watched a bunch of things. On Friday night, after we texted each other, we did not go to happy hour on Friday night, unfortunately. But I watched a movie called Incoming. I have a soft spot for these teen, raucous comedies. And this was a teen, raucous, raunchy comedy about these 4 incoming freshman boys into a high school who, they're having a rave party at one guy's house, and there's a dead drunk girl that 2 of these guys get stuck with, and the one guy who's, trying to get nothing, he spent the whole party trying to get laid, and of course everything goes wrong. But I loved it. I sat and laughed my head off at it. Valerie, I didn't even tell her I got rented that. She'll probably kill me.
I was going to say it's a good thing she was away.
No, she doesn't like those kind of movies. There was a lot of mayhem and debauchery, which is that's my sweet spot. And then when Valerie came home, we went and watched Quiet Place, which is the prequel to the Quiet movies.
Yeah.
Done by Krasinski.
Creepy.
It was creepy. It wasn't as creepy as I thought it was going to be, but it was creepy.
Yeah.
And with they're basically this woman who's dying anyways, and this other guy are just trying to make their way out of the city, New York City, while these beasts are trying to kill them.
Yeah.
I've watched 3 of these movies now, and they never explain why these things have invaded Earth and what are they? They're just killing randomly. They don't eat them. They don't eat the people.
Yeah, well, I mean, where are they from? What do they want? It's just.
It's now you thought in this they would have taken the time to tell us, and because it was the first movie, the prequel, but they didn't. So I still don't know what these dumb things want. They can't see. All they do is hear.
Yeah, silly.
And then last night, and then Sunday night we watched The Fall Guy. I know you've seen that already, right?
Yeah, we saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not great.
It's okay. Yeah, it was a little tedious. I could have edited about an hour of it out.
Yeah, that's so funny. My first comment after I saw it, and I looked at Valerie, I said, the thing was just too long. They said too much going on. They could have cut it down. It would have been worked at 100 minutes. It didn't have to be 126.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, AARP. Let's talk a little AARP.
Or not.
I have mixed feelings about it. I like it. They have a lot of good information in their magazines and bulletins, but there's a lot of things that just piss me off. For example, Kevin Costner is on the cover. And you know how I feel about Costner.
Your favorite.
Costner, and the second terrible thing is he's got a dog lab there.
Yeah, you're going to offend half our audience, those who have pets and love them, and those who watch Kevin Costner movies and love them.
Costner's had what looks like his face looks weird, like he's had something done to it, by the way.
Oh, you think so? Gee, what a surprise that would be. Somebody in Hollywood.
He's on there. He's come to the point where he's pitching this dumb second chapter of Horizon American Saga on AARP. Let me see. This is the review, by the way. The second 3 hour tranche of the Wild West themed soap operatic drama premiering at the Venice Film Festival has basically the same problems as its predecessor. Too much setup and not enough payoff. Jagged editing that only highlights the lack of harmony between its disparate narrative strands, and cliche-tinged production values that often make it feel corny and old-fashioned and not in a good way.
That's why we love it. Corny and old-fashioned.
It's not even
Whose
corny.
review? Who's review? Who's the reviewer, by the way?
I don't know. I didn't put it on. I didn't care. I was just looking for the worst review I could find.
Yeah, just to antagonize me.
AARP in both the magazine and the bulletin that they send out, they think that we, meaning the audience that is supposed to be buying this magazine, are only interested in celebrities that are also old.
No.
So, yeah. So, for example, in this issue that I showed you, they have an article on Don McLean, who wrote Bye Bye Miss American Pie. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's ancient history. And Mary Lou Henner, who was the actress who was on Taxi back in the 70s, and she's 72 years old now.
I was going to say she's almost as old as me.
Yeah. And then they had these quotables. I'm going to show you the quotables. See, Pat Sajak there.
Yeah. Mhm.
He was saying, I'd rather leave a couple years early than a couple years too late. It's been a great 40 years. So you know what, I actually agree with him. Timing is everything. If you get it right, then you're good.
Yeah. Well,
All right, I'm
did
going to read.
that.
Huh?
You did that.
Yeah.
You retired at the height of your career,
At the height, at
and
the
you're
pinnacle.
still young.
At the pinnacle.
And
The
now
pinnacle of my earning life. I just
Now here
walked
you
away
are.
from it all.
here you are in a podcast with global reach. Papua New Guinea is clinging to every moment.
That's right. We have a New Guinea viewer, and we'll have to. If I knew how to speak New Guinea-ish, I would tell him
Yeah.
hi, but everything. All right, here's a quote. You tell me who said it. I don't think I'm telegenic. I'm one of those artists who should be seen and not necessarily. Oh, I completely screwed it up. I'm one of those artists who should be heard and not necessarily seen. This is a guy
No
we
idea.
talked about recently.
Oh, Danny Trejo,
No, Madison Square Garden.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel said that. And you're right, Billy Joel, you are ugly, you're not telegenic, and you're lucky you can sing, otherwise you'd be you'd be working at a lube store somewhere, changing oil. All right, here's the next one. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember what I did when I was 15 years old. It's amazing. You'll never guess this one.
No, I have no idea.
Dick Van Dyke says it. He's 98 years old.
How does he keep going?
I don't know. I can't imagine
And
what
he's
it's
still
like.
and he's still as goofy as he ever was. You see in his interview a while back, I saw him. And he's pretty sharp. He's goofy.
Well, it's interesting what he says is that every once in a while I will have a memory of something. Like I can't remember what room I'm in right now. As soon as I leave it, I'll forget.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I'll have a flash of a memory, like when I was in my early teens or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, here's another one. This one killed me. I don't get much of a buzz from performing with The Who. If I'm really honest, I've been touring for the money.
Well, at least he's truthful.
His guitarist Pete Townsend, who's 79 years old, is basically saying that what we know about all these artists, Mick Jagger, Billy Joel,
Yeah.
Madonna, any of them, they're just touring for the money. They don't have anything new to say, and who cares? All right. I want to get out, take my dress off, and put my jammies on. It's kind of like the opposite of Cinderella. This is a person of famous star talking about leaving parties. You know who that was?
No,
No,
could
never guess.
have been any of 100.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman, who's 57. Nicole Kidman, by the way, works nonstop. She's on like 8
She's in
Netflix
everything.
Yeah. Right
She's
now.
in everything. She's got 2 feature films out.
Yeah.
She's on television.
Yeah.
Well, see her everywhere.
I know. I watched The Perfect Couple, her new series on Netflix. It started a couple weeks ago. We watched 2 or 3 episodes the other night. It's good, actually.
Is it good? Yeah, because we
Yeah.
saw the previews. We just finished Griselda.
Was that good?
Oh, man. Brutal.
Oh, that's that one with what's her name? Viero or whatever. She's beating people to death with baseball bats and stuff.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what's her name?
She was on Modern Family.
I have a senior moment here. She's on America's Got Talent. She's one of the judges, Sofia Vergara.
Sophia Vergara.
Yeah, it's really good, and the makeup and everything they've done on her is terrific. I mean, it's pretty scary.
Pretty scary. Pretty brutal, I heard.
Yeah, horrible. And I guess totally factual in terms of the reign of terror she brought to Miami.
There's nothing total. Total facts and TV don't mix.
Yeah, that's probably true.
All right, here's the last one. Quote, how do you stay married for 47 years? Question. You get a little hard of hearing, both of us. You know who said that?
I have no idea.
Judge Judy.
Who has a new show now?
What is that new show? What is she
No,
doing?
she's back on TV with another Judge Judy spinoff. So we'll have to check her out. Yeah.
Anyways, my point after all this discussion and reading those quotes is that AARP is only interested in celebrities who are also old. Well, I'm interested in young things. I listen to Megan Thee Stallion and Mike, I know, who, by the way, this is Mike, who's known in the rap world as Whiz Bang. I know that you listen to BLP Kosher, that famous young rapper. You like him because he's from Florida.
I cannot tell you how much I hate rap.
Whiz Bang.
Oh my God.
His song, BLP Kosher has a song called Dreidel Man. And he's one of the more unique artists to blow up recently. If the name doesn't give it away, Kosher is very proud of his Jewish background, which is often referenced in songs and titles, such as one off of his 2023 album. The name of the song was Bar's Mitzvah. Stupid. Bar's Mitzvah.
Rap. It always astounds me that nobody in the rap world can take a step without grabbing their crotch, shaking their fingers in front of their face like they just discovered they had hands.
Hey, listen, we should be doing that when we go to happy hour. We'll go walk in, grab our crotches, wave our hands around, and just bop in. Watch those old women go crazy for us.
The end of civilization. Rap.
Oh, speaking of rappers, you know who Pitbull is? Of course
Yeah,
you
I
do.
love Pitbull. I love
'Cause
Pitbull.
you are. What's your name again? Whiz Bang.
Yeah. You can put that one to rest.
Never. That's a good rap name. Singer, rapper, entrepreneur Pitbull. He doesn't look like your regular rapper either. He looks, I don't know what he looks like.
Well, he's not. He's a real singer. He completes a whole sentence. He doesn't grab his crotch.
Yeah, he does. I don't think you know who Pitbull is. I'm going to put
Yes,
a
I
picture
do.
of him.
No, I do. I like it.
You think he's that? What's his name? Jelly Jam. What's the name of the one from that does the Stagecoach?
Oh, Jelly Roll?
Yeah, Jelly Roll.
No.
Well, anyways, Pitbull is older. He's a senior citizen in that world. But anyway, he agreed to pay $6 million to Florida International University, which, by the way, if you didn't know it, is in Miami. It's got 39,000 students. Which, by the way, that's a lot of students. Average tuition is $8,000 a year.
Wow.
Cheap.
Yeah. No, good for him. I've seen him many times, and he's articulate. He's a good performer. I think he's a good guy.
Anyway, he actually went to this university and paid $6 million for the naming rights to its football stadium. So it's now going to be Pitbull Stadium. And this is not a joke. This was a huge story.
Yeah.
And I listened to an entire story on NPR. And they went down and talked to this person down at Florida International University, FIU, and they said, and one of the questions was, why did you do this? Why did you sell the naming rights to Pitbull? And he goes, it got us instant notoriety. Look, he goes, you wouldn't be down here talking to us if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for Pitbull. And then he was right. Which is, this whole thing is very unusual. And part of it is that he gets certain things as well. Like, for example, he gets the stadium for a night for himself. So he could do a concert
cool.
there. He could just have his friends come down there and run around and go nuts.
Toss football around.
Toss the football around. It's his for one night, no matter what he wants to do.
Have the Pit Bull Bowl.
Pit Bull Bowl.
Yeah.
Pit Bull Bowl. Yeah, that's cool. In the Los Angeles Times, they do a weekly sort of a feature article in which they go to some celebrity and they ask them, "How do you spend your Sundays?" Well, this past week they interviewed Jessica Alba, who, by the way, is one hot 45-year-old woman.
Yeah, and one very smart business person.
Yeah, and a smart business person. She's got some kind of, I don't even know what it is, honestly.
Cosmetic wellness products. I think it's worth over $1 billion.
Well, see, then this whole thing makes sense because she was talking about her Sunday. She lives married to a guy named Cash Warren. His first name is Cash. They have 3 kids. So this is her Sunday. Early in the morning at 9 a.m., her husband brings her a latte, and her son gives it to her with a kiss. Then they go on a hike, and they have acai bowls. Then they look for bugs and plants around the house. And then they meditate. And then they start cooking Sunday dinner, and they wind down Sunday with the movie. Now
They wind down. They need to wind down after that exhaustive day.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm just reading this thing, go, what the hell? I had 4 kids. And I'll tell you what real American parents are doing on a Sunday. That you're up at 6 because the kids are up at 6. And by the way, they're not getting up to give you any coffee or give you a kiss. They're hungry at 6. And by 6:15, you better have some food on the table. There's no time to make any lattes. Then after you feed them, then you got to clean up the kitchen and clean up the rest of the house because invariably they have messed it up.
Yeah.
And then you don't go out for any hike and you don't have any acai bowls. What you do is you get the kids ready because you probably have a soccer game or a swimming, practice or Little League baseball or something, but you're on the go, you're at some field somewhere, and you're either freezing or you're blistering hot and you're tired and you don't want to be there, but you do it anyways. And then if there's a nap in the afternoon or meditating time, it's because you force them to lay down so that you can have 5 minutes to lay down.
Lock them in their rooms.
Yeah, lock them in their rooms. And then this whole thing about getting dinner ready. No, you think about getting dinner ready and you say, F this, order a pizza, honey. Cash, get on the phone, order me a pizza.
Yeah, DoorDash.
Yeah, DoorDash, Cash.
God.
And then after you eat the pizza, then you spend an hour getting the kids washed up into their pajamas, making sure they have their homework ready for Monday, and then you start making lunches for the next day. And if you have any time left after that, well, you're too whipped to do anything else but go to bed.
Yeah. What they failed to mention in that article is that her nanny and her cook and her driver were all there to assist in that exhausting day.
It just goes to show you that it's like they won't interview a normal person for these articles because they believe that their readership will go up, their circulation will be affected unless they interview a star. But honestly,
Yeah.
I'd rather hear, what a real person goes through so I can empathize with them and not what Paul goes through. In our celebrity news, the one, the only Justin Timberlake, he's pleaded guilty. Now, this is how nonsensical he was originally, though. So he was leaving the American Hotel in June in the Hamptons. He was stopped for running a stop sign and swerving into an oncoming lane. The officer smelled booze on his breath. They added that Timberlake had bloodshot, glassy eyes. He also had slow speech, unsteady on his feet, and performed poorly on a field sobriety test. And guess what he did? He pleaded innocent.
Yeah.
He pleaded innocent.
Yeah.
Well, finally, he went back home. Jessica Beal slapped him around a little bit. His lawyer said, "What the hell are you doing? Just go there and take it like a man." He appeared in a Sag Harbor Village court last Friday, and he got a slap on the wrist. They ordered him to pay a fine and perform some community service. So what he's going to do is appear in a public service announcement about the danger of drunk driving.
Oh, gee. What a terrible punishment.
I'm Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Don't drink and
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah. Jessica was probably more interested in who the hell he was with,
Was somebody else in the car?
getting drunk in the Hamptons. Yeah. Yeah.
These guys, they think they just, it's like
brother.
celebrities are absolutely crazy. Well, if you are having problems relating to people when you get old, I have a solution, Mike.
Oh, good. Mr. Warmth
This is
tells me how to relate.
you sent me this article. Don't be blaming me. If you're lonely and you can only relate to yourself, so to speak, and if you can get yourself to New York City and you can get down to Tribeca, go to the Walker Hotel where they've introduced a self-love pod aimed at the recently single.
Is that the silliest thing you ever read? God.
Yeah. But it would work just as well for lonely people of age. Guests are invited to, in quotes, re-explore their own sexuality. That's what they call it now, by the way. What are you doing in there, son? I'm re-exploring my sexuality.
Yeah. That's like the Martha Stewart.
It's not even that cheap. It's not a cheap date, by the way. What about Martha Stewart? Don't be making fun of Martha Stewart.
No, it's when when she and
Snoop.
Robin Williams, she was showing him how to prepare flank steak. And she said it was important to massage the flank steak for 3 minutes or so, work in all the seasonings. And he looked at her and he said, you know what, if I'm massaging the meat for 3 minutes and nothing's happened yet, something's wrong.
God, that's funny. Robin Williams was funny.
Oh, he was
Just
hysterical.
crazy. What did she say then? Or just she probably.
Oh, she turned red and was like, threw her hands up, was like, oh my.
The one thing about taking care of your own self in that regard is that usually it's pretty inexpensive. You don't need a lot to go down to Tribeca and spend money on a room. And
Yeah.
and plus, you don't have to take yourself out to dinner. Actually,
It's the cheapest date.
date is actually
Yeah.
when you're on your own. The hotel is pushing the health benefits of self-love because it says you can release stress, improve your mood, sleep better, and even improve your immunity.
What?
Hey.
Hey.
By the way, when you're a teenage boy, you don't need hotels. You don't need
No.
any reason
No.
for
You don't.
practicing a little self-love. All right, that's enough of that. That hooey.
Yeah. Let's move on, or you'll start recounting how your mother found the Playboys under your bed.
No, but what we did was there in town, in my little town, in the middle of the town, there was a gulf of several, like a cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff, the river, and then on the other side, another cliff. And down in that gulf, which was about a mile wide, and the river was in the middle of it, we would go down there, and that's where we would hide our Playboy magazines and the cigars that we would steal from the local store. And we would go down there, and I'm talking about we're 11, 12. We would light cigars and, get sick on those, look at Playboys, didn't know what we were looking for or at. What's that thing there? And until...
And you stagger home, and your mom had no idea what was wrong with you. You smell like a cigar.
Until one day we were sitting down there smoking, goofing around, and all of a sudden these older boys came out of the trees, and they came up to us, and they looked like they were going to kick the shit out of us. And instead, they took our cigars, they took our Playboys, and they left. And that was the last time we did that. Now you can't keep that stuff at home. My mom was way too perceptive. I'm not going to be hiding any Playboys at home. You'd have had me. She would have chased me around with a stick. All right. Anyway, I'm big on Disneyland. I have always loved Disneyland, and we would go several times a year just with the kids and goof around. Now I also love Knott's Berry Farm, by the way. If you're from Southern California and get down to Knott's Berry Farm, they had one thing that no other no other theme park had. They had the most incredible fried chicken restaurant on the property. So after going on some rides, we would go to that fried chicken restaurant, get a bucket of chicken, and head home. And you know what would happen?
And blackberry
That's
pie.
right.
And blackberry
It
pie.
wasn't blackberry. It was a funny name. Not goosenberry, boysenberry. You'd get this fried chicken. We'd get in the car, and invariably we'd get about 3 miles away from the park, and I'd look in the back seat, and my two boys would be ripping through that chicken, like eating it, and grease all over their face. They couldn't wait till they got home. They just started chewing on it. So I'd have to reach back there and beat them off of it so I could have some left for me. Anyways, Disneyland is awesome. I loved it. I like going there with the family, but I'm not a Disney nut. And if you live in Southern California, you meet some really crazy nuts. The kind of people
Yeah.
who,
You know who's a Disney nut? Sandy
Sandy
Newton.
Newton for
Our,
is a
our
of
friend
ours
here.
from the desert. And
She loves. She
was
loves it. Goes all the time.
She is was a talent when I was at E Entertainment Television, and then she moved to the desert. She's now on the air at KESQ in Palm Springs, California, and she's a nice person. She had us on the air, and we embarrassed ourselves, kind of. Speak for myself, but she's a cool lady, and I didn't know she was a Disney nut. But those kind of nuts that I've seen are they collect those pins, and then they get these sashes, and they put the pins all over them, and then they go to the park with their pins, and they exchange them, and they have other pin holders come over, and they look at them and ooh and ah about them. They're wacky, and they get the year-long memberships, and they go a bunch of times all year long. But the super wacky ones are the ones who want to belong to that secret Club 33.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. Never even heard about that.
There's a door over by the Pirates of the Caribbean down at Disneyland, and it's a plain door and just says the number 33 on it. And you go in and you're upstairs, and there's a private club up there that is basically just a bar restaurant, but it's got a bunch of memorabilia in there that you can't see anywhere else. It's close to Walt Disney's secret apartment that he kept at the park when he was down there. You have a place to sleep, and it's just for insiders only, and they have specials too that they offer, like tours and other things. Well, it costs $35K to get in, and $15,000 a year to stay in. Now, on top of that,
it's like a country club.
On top of that, there's like a 10-year waiting list because these are those nuts who. So, let me introduce you to Scott and Diane Anderson. They're both 60 years old now, but they wanted to be in that club so bad. He saved money like a squirrel, squirreling away money so he could get into that club with his wife. And finally, in 2012, they got off the wait list that they were asked if they wanted to join it. They jumped at the opportunity and they joined up. And for the next 5 years, they would go to Disneyland 80 times plus a year. Now there's 52 weekends a year, so they're going 52 times plus a bunch of times in the middle of the week. So they're going all the time. And they figured they spent $124,000 a year at the park.
And at the restaurant and the club, you pay for your meals and your drinks, right?
At a place where a Coca-Cola costs you $12 or more, then when you're up at the Club 33 and you get a gin and tonic, it ain't gonna be free. It's gonna be $30.
$30.
So anyway, and they loved it because when you'd go into Club 33, you'd see these Disney stars like Dick Van Dyke and Kurt Russell. I bet you didn't know Kurt Russell was a Disney star when he was a kid. He was in a bunch of Disney.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
He played a kid named Toby. He ran away to the circus. Anyways, so everything falls apart in 2017 for, what were their names? Scott and Diane Anderson. So in 2017, security guards found Mr. Anderson near the entrance of California Adventure. They claimed he was slurring his speech, had trouble standing, and his breath smelled like alcohol. Just like Justin Timberlake getting out of that car in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he and his wife were booted out of Club 33. They were so incensed that they got kicked out that they've started a lawsuit, started suing back then in 2017. So cut to 7 years later, they're still suing. And evidently, Mrs. Anderson, as it turned out, had been suspended from the club earlier for using, in quote, some salty language, which included a couple of F-bombs. You don't go dropping
Well,
an
there you
F-bomb
go.
in Main Street Disneyland.
Not in Walt's
They don't
apartment.
want you around there. So they've spent over $400,000 now in the last 7 years to try to get back and to have their membership reinstated. And guess what? The California Supreme Court told them to forget it.
Denied.
But they said they're not giving
Good
up.
Lord.
We're going to fight this to the death, says Mrs. Anderson. He said he's had to push back his retirement by 5 years because of this legal battle. And Mrs.
You
Anderson
think?
said, if it takes it, I'll sell a kidney.
These people need a very good shrink.
Yeah, anyways, that's the extreme
Good
nutcase
Lord.
Disney. I just like going down there. The only thing I don't go on is Splash Mountain because you get wet and then your underwear is wet and you're walking around the rest of the day with wet underwear on. So if you're going to do it just before the end and go to the restroom and take your underwear off. And, I don't know how many times, and this is the God's truth, that we would go on that ride. Kids would get off, they'd be soaking wet. They'd go to the bathroom, they'd take off their wet, nasty underwear, and I'd have to carry it around till we went home because my wife wouldn't let me throw it out. So I stopped going on Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have cut my trip count down
They didn't
severely.
even stop us from going. Year after year, we do the same stupid thing.
This is our last story, thank goodness. I titled it Florida Fools Forge Lottery Ticket. Only in Florida.
Only in Florida would you think you could get away with this shit.
Kira Enders, who's 36, and Dakota Jones, 32. So this is I don't like, see, I'm so old school that I think that men should always be older than the women they're dating.
Yeah.
Kira is 4 years older than this fool, Dakota Jones, and convinced him, because I think this was her idea. They were arrested and charged with forgery / alteration of a lottery ticket with intent to defraud. So basically, she walks into the lottery offices. She said she had possession of a winning lottery ticket, but it was actually 2 lottery tickets that had been torn in half, and she had put together with some glue or tape or something, and then walks in there, fills out the back of it, but that basically warns you if you try to do anything like that, they're going to bust you. And she turns it in like, oh yeah, here's my ticket.
Well, she had some goofy story too, didn't she? About dropped the ticket and it got ripped in half. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the stories was it got wet and fell apart, and that she had to put it together, and so they wanted their money. And the cops then brought him in. They called him in, and they came in voluntarily, and they arrested him on the spot. Anyways, they're idiots. All right, that's it for today. I can't take any more. Can't take any more looking at that cue ball. If you were, you wish you had a lovely set of locks like this.
That's just frightening to me. That is just frightening to me. You look like you dropped your toaster in a bathtub. Your hair's just standing straight up on 10.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
All right. So please subscribe. If you subscribe, as I said at the beginning, Mike will come to your house and he'll either mow your grass or he'll cut your hair. He uses the same tool for both, so it doesn't matter. Either way, you'll look like your head will look like that, or your lawn will look like that.
Oh, speaking of subscribing, our neighbor Rick subscribed.
He
so
did?
Now we owe him happy hour.
Well, good for him. If he,
Yeah.
he should have waited and become our 100th, and then we could have bought him something
Yeah.
special. Now he's just a regular. He doesn't get anything
Just-
special. Maybe his wife Jen will subscribe. She'll become the 100th.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to him now.
Yeah.
Send us an email. oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. Mike and I will answer all questions. We'll take all comments. We'll basically dazzle you with our mental abilities. If you can ask us any trivia questions. We'll tell you what to do in your life. Anything you need to know, it's all available to you. If you don't like looking at, well, it's probably you don't like looking at his face. If you don't like looking at it, go to Spotify or Apple and subscribe. That way you can just listen to my dulcet tones. You'll never find another love like mine.
Please. No.
Man.
You've got a great voice for cooling soup.
Yeah, I can't get my voice low enough anymore. It's gone. It's shattered. I'm like Billy Joel.
Thank goodness.
No, it's not Billy Joel. Who is Bon Jovi with his bad, vocal cords. And check out our Substack at 52task.substack.com. That's all for today. Talk to you next week. And adios, amigo.
Adios. See you later, Jeff.
See you Thursday.